Hi, welcome to the Oz Industries High Return Social Media for Tourism webinar. I'm just going to be working with David Inches, and we've just got a question right from the beginning.
Already?
Yeah.
Okay, that's quick.
Just from Graham Bell. He was just asking who won State of Origin last night.
Graham, excellent. How are you, Graham? Hope you're enjoying yourself up there in Cairns. Well, I have an answer for that. A fantastic spectacle. Thank you very much for the leading question. Given it's a Northern Australian sort of primary audience today, I'll leave that up there for a few more minutes. I probably am risking life and limb showing that on New South Wales soil, but so be it. So, look, welcome today to our third webinar, which is around tourism digital marketing. And today is about high return social media. We started off with the high performance websites. We moved into search engine optimization, and now we'll sort of wrap it up with social media. And I've put them in that order for a reason, because the place to really start is to get your website humming. So it's a high conversion tool for you. Get some more people to it through search engine optimization, and then social media is the other way to sort of get that traffic driving. So we'll be covering that today, and we'll probably take a full hour and a half complement. For those of you who haven't been to the other sessions or didn't meet me on the workshop series, my name's David Inches. I run a one-man band marketing consultancy called Inspired by Marketing, which has been operating, I think it's actually 10 years fairly soon, next month actually. So I've been very fortunate to work with many different industries, but my grounding was in tourism, and it's where my passion is, for business or for pleasure. So I've been very fortunate and love working in the tourism space. So thank you very much for tuning in today, and we'll get through the content, and hopefully we'll have some questions as well, which we can answer. What today is not going to be is a really detailed educational session. So, today we will talk about how to use Facebook advertising, and I'll run through an example. But in terms of really educating yourself on all of the finer details of that, the best thing you could do is to jump online, watch a video with a coffee in your own time, pause it, test, press play, go back and forth. So there's just a mountain of online learning tools online. So, I'd really like today to sort of cover a broad range of topics and really highlight the things that I think are important for you to focus on in getting a high return out of social media. But some of the details, you can, there are just endless tools online, endless articles, so, and a lot of resources from your state tourism organisation, certainly from Tourism Australia, and from, most likely your RTO as well. So there's no shortage of information out there on social media for tourism or any form of digital marketing. So what we will cover today is just a brief understanding on the different social channels for tourism, and my opinion on which ones you should be focused on. We'll have a look at what drives high quality content, and we'll talk about how to extend the reach of that content. And then we will talk about Instagram and Facebook for advertising. And as mentioned before, we've already got one fantastic question from Graham. So any more questions along those lines, or anything to do with the session today, that'd be great. I've got Rebecca here to help me out, so please fire those questions through at any time, and we'll try and answer as many as we can. So the landscape for social media, look, it's bigger than this again, but sort of up the top, you've got those key social channels, what might be referred to as your traditional social channels. And Instagram is a really powerful platform for tourism, and it's used for tourism because it gives the user tools to make their video or their photos really stand out. You can enhance those photos. So people using Instagram are generally, quite sort of proud of their work, so to speak, and really enjoy sharing it. I know myself, I will actually post a photo on my Instagram page, and then I will tick to also show it on my Facebook page. But my primary platform is Instagram, because I like the tools that it gives me. I don't like to say a lot in my postings, so that's sort of how I go about it. Other people are Facebook, diehards, and that's the system they might use to sort of share things while they're on holiday or businesses with their page. So they are most certainly the big two. But let's not forget a tool like YouTube. So YouTube is just purely another social channel. I know it's a different makeup to the others, but it's a place that you can put content, you can share content, people can subscribe to your channel, they can share your work. So we'll cover YouTube today as well as another important channel. And then we've got Pinterest and Twitter. We won't really spend time on Twitter today, but we'll spend a little bit of time on Pinterest. And then we've got really the different booking engine and review sites. So it's really important that we're sort of treating those as social opportunities as well. So if we're encouraging people to write reviews for us on TripAdvisor or on whatever platform they choose, we should be monitoring those reviews. Maybe we should be feeding them into our website. So really, for me, social media is anywhere where a user can take control and share, engage, or comment about our businesses. And just to have a little look at some data, this is just on Australian usage. And the bottom one's I suppose the one I was the most interested in. So this is the percentage of Australian population accessing social media daily by age. So we can see here that 79% of 18 to 29-year-olds are on a form of social media daily. We can also see above that, Facebook is the dominant platform, but it doesn't mean to say it must be Facebook. It could be any form of social media. Then we're down to 64% aged 30 to 39. Interesting, still half of people aged 40 to 49 and 37% of people to age 50 to 64 are on social media, some form every single day. 17% 65 plus. Facebook in particular is merging towards an older demographic, still very young, but it's every year it becomes the base of 40 plus becomes more prevalent in Facebook. So just to give you an indication, if you're wondering, who's using what and how often are they using it, there's no question that social media is really a dominant part of our lives for all age groups these days. It sort of leads on to why we should invest in social media. Social media, for me, it's just another way to engage with an audience. It is certainly not the magic potion that it was promoted as, I think, for tourism when it first came out. So the story we were all told when we went to a workshop was, look, you can put something on social media and people will like it, share it, and it goes global, and all of a sudden you've got this flood of free publicity. And of course we know on occasions when a cat drinks a cup of milk upside down or something, that sort of thing happens. But you've really got to have very impressive comment to get really serious sort of viral reach like that. So that's not really the way to do it. Another reason is some people these days will just go to your Facebook profile before they'll go to your website. So it's starting to become a go-to tool to research things about your company, particularly if they're looking to say, is there an event on or something quite current. People are starting to have more faith that you will have more current content on your Facebook page than you'll actually have your website updated. Now, you need to have them both absolutely current, but it's people are changing their expectations in terms of where they can find the most current content. So it's a really important platform for people to research your business. People aren't booking on it yet. Will they ever? I'm not sure. And it's also, of course, just simply a way to share what's remarkable about your business. So it's difficult to measure commercial return in some ways, but in other ways you can have a look at how many clicks from your social assets are coming through to your website, for example. So on Google Analytics, under acquisition, it'll say what came through with organic search. That's somebody typing into Google on their own. It'll say what traffic came through with your AdWords spend. It will also say any business that came on referral for other websites or came from your social websites as well. So you can track it in terms of traffic to your website. You can track it in terms of how many people are clicking and liking and sharing. So linking it to bookings becomes more difficult. But if people are looking for you and they're looking for content, you've got an opportunity to be there for that. So it's an important asset for you.
Can I just, I've just got a question from Fiona. She was just wondering in regards to the stats.
Mm-hmm.
can anyone access those statistics, or is it a kind of subscription service or membership service that you drew those from?
Yeah, there's sort of both options. So in terms of, Facebook as a platform, there's Facebook Insights. And again, if you search online, how do I use Facebook Insights, there'll be videos from Facebook themselves, which will teach you where to look and what to look for, and you can measure. There's another tool that I'll show you this afternoon, which is a free tool called Buffer, and Hootsuite is another one, and that will actually collate and measure statistics from multiple sites. And there are paid platforms which will give you another level of depth. But what I was talking about a minute ago, where you can track if businesses coming through to your website from your Facebook page, that's all on Google Analytics, and that is free. And again, just do a search, how do I use Google Analytics to track social incoming traffic, something like that. And there'll be lots of content on that for you to actually go through that process. But I really wouldn't recommend for this part of digital marketing that you really need to invest in tools to get those insights. I think if you go onto the platforms themselves, and we'll have a look at Buffer later on, I think you'll find that to be a valuable tool as well. So thanks, Fiona. So the first place to start, and we've done the same with all of these sessions, is what are our objectives? And for social media, I think these are the sorts of questions we should be asking ourselves. And depending if you're a restaurant and bar, or if you're an attraction, accommodation, car rental, something else, these questions might vary. But the sorts of questions that we might ask ourselves, how do I drive more traffic to my website through social media? That's clearly an objective we're looking to do. How do I get more people into my website, via my social channels? Maybe we're looking to grow shoulder bookings, sell last-minute, low-usage seats or beds. That's an objective which we'll talk through some answers, how we achieve that today. Encouraging more customer interacting with my social assets. So I might have a Facebook page, but if I look at the stats on it on my Instagram page or my Pinterest, and I'm not really getting a lot of, people aren't really connecting with what I'm putting up there, what's the reason for that? So how do I get higher levels of what we call engagement, which just means people liking, sharing, commenting about my social content? And the reason for that will often be the quality of that content. So, how do I go about what is quality content? And how do I increase? How do I draw better quality content from within my business? How do I use it to strengthen my brand credibility? And how can I empower the team to be a part of my social movement? So we'll cover all these things today, and I'll actually show you an example strategy from a business at the end of this session, just to show you some answers from another client of mine for these types of objectives. But the first thing I encourage you to do before you move forward is just take a step back and say, what am I trying to achieve by investing time and money into social media as a channel to grow my business? And it must all start with content. So the objective is to get people engaging with our content. Have you noticed before that on Facebook you will, maybe you decide to follow a company. Maybe it's it could be a cosmetics company or a travel destination or electronics company, and you think I'd love to keep in touch with the new products from Sony. So I'll like their page, and that means that when they put content on their page, I will see it on my Facebook timeline, which is just all of that content that scrolls forever you have on your phone or your desktop. So what will happen is the next time they put up something about a new product, and it's probably fairly frequently, I will see that on my news feed. But if I don't click like or share it with my friends or make a comment, Facebook will say, okay, well, how interested was David really in that content? Look, it's okay, we'll put another one up from Sony. But every time I ignore that content, it slips further and further down that scroll. And I only have 50 friends on Facebook, but, how many people have got hundreds? More than not. So when there's that much content coming through, if you're not engaging with it, you will just fall down the bottom. So you might have 5,000 Facebook fans and feel great about yourself, but your engagement rate might be very, very low because no one's getting to your content because it's down the bottom of the feed. So it's really important that we pull together content that actually encourages that engagement. Because if people are not engaging with your content, you are truly wasting your time, because people won't see it, and other platforms won't pick it up and distribute, sort of on-share it for you. So it's all about quality over quantity. So we're going to talk a little bit about, for this first session, about, what is quality content. But you're far better to say, okay, look, with the time allowances I've got, I could put up one killer post every 2 weeks. Something really impressive. You're far better to do that than put up 3 posts every week that are really not getting any traction, just because you feel like you should be sharing. It's easy for people too. I see some people really get addicted to it. They get into it and they find they're just posting all the time and they get addicted to posting. If that content you're putting out there is not of high quality, if it's the 15th sunset picture you've posted in a row, it will drop down the feed. And as I said, doesn't matter how many fans you've got, you'll be lost down that feed. And there are ways that we can pay to get back up there. But again, if you pay to get back up the top and your content isn't remarkable, you'll just drop down again. So very much a focus on quality over quantity. And the question is, well, what's remarkable content? And just go to Tourism Australia. They're the masters at it. They are world acclaimed in terms of their work. So we might just duck over to the web now. Let's just have a bit of a look through their content. Thank you. So just the place I would start, and there's actually a page we'll have a look at the moment, and it actually talks about, it's on the Tourism Australia website, but it actually talks about their opinions on what makes great content, and there are content themes that they follow. And you can see here, coastal and wildlife. It's a sunset picture, but I presume it's Cable Beach. We've got the iconic in there. You can see we've got, high comments. 40-odd thousand people have said they like it. So this is high quality content. It's quite diverse. So you can see they're mixing it up. So they're trying to tell a story of Australia, but they're running it to themes. Now, of course, this isn't all of their content. It's not like they've got employees running around taking these pictures. What they're doing is they are following other people's content, whether they be individuals, whether they be other tourism bureaus, or whether it's your business. They are manually, literally, they've got people looking at your content and the stuff they like, they are on sharing it through their Instagram profile. So we'll talk today about, how do you get your product, your content on here? And it will be, there's a few process things we have to do, but of course, Tourism Australia or Tourism Events Queensland or the Northern Territory or your local RTO, they will only share your content if it is just super cool. And it's in line with their brand strategy, their themes. So imagine how much it would have cost Tourism Australia to pull together this content years ago. Hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, into the millions. But instead, here we have content by real people, clearly following themes of coastal, wildlife, city. You can see, the images are a little different. They're of very high quality. And if we just click onto one of the images, you can see they're also very focused on telling a story. So what they'll never do is just share a picture and just say, isn't it cute? There's always a story that they're putting behind their content. Of course, this is content on Instagram, but it really doesn't matter where your content's going. You want to have a story that goes with it. And if you notice here, they're also entering, they've got at Western Australia, hash Cape Leveque, is it? At Skyhawk Media. So what they're doing is that they're recognising where the photos come from, and they're actually tagging it to the Western Australian Instagram page, and they're hashtagging it to a specific destination. And we'll talk about exactly what hashtags are and how they're used. But what they're trying to do here is they're trying to get this piece of content, which they have shared through other channels as well. So they're trying to increase the reach of this content out to the market. And as you can see, people are commenting on it, And what will happen is, particularly in Facebook and things, a conversation will occur. And that's also great for your search. So in SEO, we talked about the fact that if you're posting content onto your social media assets and people are talking to you and commenting back and you're holding a conversation, Google loves that as well, and they will say you're talking to your customer, you're relevant, will give you a few points on your website search ranking. So, search is a very important medium in its own right, but it also has great benefits, a double benefit for your search rankings, and it also has another benefit, as we'll see today, that you can use this content and put it on your website, which is great user benefit. So you've probably noticed in these 3 sessions that the 3 of them all cut across each other. Sorry, we'll slip back. Thank you. So hashtags. So I'm convinced a lot of people don't know what they're doing when they hashtag, but a lot of people do, and all it's really doing is a hashtag is just simply hash and a word. You can't own a hashtag, you can't register a hashtag. If I put in hash David Inches in Paris, that now exists. So hash David Inches in Paris is now existing in the world, and all it does is, somewhere up in the cloud up there or on the internet, it marks that piece of content. So if I took a picture of myself on the Eiffel Tower and I put, hash Paris or hash David Inches in Paris, it marks that content with that hash marker. So what can be done, and it makes it public content, unless you have your privacy settings turned to private, which most people don't, it makes it public content. So if somebody typed in, say, hash Paris, and I had put hash Paris on the end of my post, they would see me. They would see me in Paris doing my thing. And it would say that I took the photo, and it puts it back to me as a user, but it becomes public content. So that's one of the ways. It's really just marking content, but then we can do different things with it. So one thing we would like to do is we might want to get content and pop it on our website. And I'll show you an example with a client of mine, Innkeeper Tasmania. There are lots of, it's fairly common, but we're doing something quite special down there with this. But what we're doing is we're actually following hash Tasmania, hash Coles Bay, hash Hobart. So we're following all of these different hashtag feeds, of which when people are in Coles Bay, they're saying, here I am, hash Coles Bay. So we're following that content, and I'll show you the software we're using, and we're displaying that on the website. So we're not sending photographers out anymore to paint a picture of Coles Bay or Freycinet. We're actually we're harvesting content that already exists out there that's been marked with a hashtag. So that's one thing we can do. We can harvest content and use it on our website. Another thing we might want to do is we'd love to have Tourism Australia or Events Queensland, Darwin, WA, share our content. So if I have a tour, maybe I'm out in the water and we saw some whales today, and I'm posting it under Dave's Whale Tours, and if I put #See Australia into my post, whether it's on my phone or on my desktop, there are people at Tourism Australia that are crawling through every piece of content that has #See Australia marked on it. Every piece of content, and they will say, how good's that? It fits with our theme, it's beautiful photography, it tells a story. You know what, let's share that to our 3 or 4, 7 million people we've got. So if your content is of a very high quality and you're marking it #See Australia, Tourism Australia, if they value the content and it fits with what they're trying to achieve, they will share it on for you. It's not easy to get a 7-8 million hit on a piece of content, but it's got to be high quality and you have to hashtag it. So that's another way to use a hashtag. You might want to share content related to a specific event. So Cairns Ironman was up our way recently. If I had a business and it had a particular involvement with Cairns Ironman, or maybe I'm at Palm Cove and I was taking a picture from my penthouse suite over the launch, I might want to actually share with the world that, what an amazing view from our penthouse of the start of Ironman. And then I would I would have hashtagged that #cans Ironman, because the people in Ironman, if they liked the photo, and they probably would, a beautiful aerial shot, they would on-share that to the Ironman network. So you can use it to, or if you're holding an event. So if you're holding an event, whether it's a Sunday session or a particular, maybe it's your birthday and you're a bar, you want to get people in the bar hashtagging the posts of them having fun to #myBarBirthday, whatever the name of your bar is, and then you can gather that content and place it onto your website. You can share it through your own social feeds. So it's just marking content that can be used in different ways. Maybe it's like Save the Reef. Maybe your business, maybe you're a reef operator and you'd like to get involved in the conversation about the reef. So maybe so that's not a marketing use. Maybe you want to get involved. Maybe there's a feed for Save the Reef on Earth Hour's webpage, for example, or something like that. So you can use it to get involved in that depth of conversation. And you can also use hashtags to get people to enter the competition. So you can say, take a picture of yourself doing something in Palm Cove. Here's the theme. We want to see fun in the sun or romance. And hashtag it to, Palm Cove summer competition. And then as an operator of that competition, I can look at all the entries. And there are little bits of software you can use to say, choose a random winner, or you can choose a winner based on criteria. So, hashtags are a really important part of social media now, because that's really how you're going to get your reach. Yes, remarkable content will be shared within and beyond your network as well, but the hashtag is a really important aspect. And probably to say it better than I just did, I'm just going to show you a video from Tourism Australia, and they talk about the sort of content that they're looking for. So this is the page that you'd like to go through to. The URL for this page is Industry Advice Using Social Media. And you can see here they've got some tips and tricks, some really valuable tools. And what they're saying here is, here's how to get involved with the different assets for Tourism Australia. So one thing you can do is actually go onto their Facebook page, and we'll do it in a minute, and you can directly upload content to their Facebook page. If they love what they see, they will put it on their timeline, which is what the public sees. But that's how you get involved with them through Facebook. You will go to their page and you will upload a piece of content. They have a Twitter account as well, and all you have to do is, if you're posting something on Twitter, all you have to do is just put in @Australia at the end of your tweet, and their people will see that. If it's something that they deem to be remarkable and in with their strategy, they will retweet and sort of share that through their networks. We've already talked about using #CAustralia on the end of your posts. Restaurant Australia is the other one that they track. So if you've got a food-based post you're putting up there, just make sure you put #Restaurant Australia, #CAustralia, and then they will, if it's content that they choose to on-share, that's how it will be. Or on Instagram, you can also just say @Australia instead of being specific with the hashtags. They will see all of that. So they're just different ways there of actually achieving that. We might actually jump into Facebook because that's the platform that you have to go direct with them. But before I do, I'm just going to show you their little video. Oh, sorry. I probably didn't run this by the tech guys. Am I okay to be running a video here, gentlemen? I don't seem to be having sound. Okay, so they won't be able to hear it. Sorry, I apologise about this. Will the people on the webinar be able to hear the content from the video? So, no? Okay. Apologies for that. But go onto the page and actually have a look at that content. Have a look at the little video. But a really important aspect in terms of how you get reach on that content. I'll show you another way. I mentioned before about how you can harvest content and put it on your own website. So let's flick back to the web again. I'm going to have a look at my friends at Innkeeper. So this is a great Tasmanian business, and they on-sell accommodation and tours. This is an engine we've only just loaded, so the load time we're still working with, but you can see here on the home page, we're pulling together, we're putting up content from different users. So these are people that have posted content and they have either hashtagged it or they have they've linked it to the Tourism Tasmania Instagram page. But the different thing we're doing here is we're organising this content. And you can see here now the quality of the content's fabulous. So we're looking for content that unlocks the secrets of Tasmania, and we're looking for content that tells a story. So this is all content generated by users. You can see their names, and they could be businesses, they could be Tourism Tasmania generating the content. And you can see the popularity score down here. So what we're looking to do is we're collating this content so we can share it with potential visitors to Tasmania. But the interesting thing that we're doing is we're tagging the content. So each post that we deem to be shareable, and we manually go through every morning, takes us 15 minutes, and I'll show you the software. We'll actually tag the destination. So we might say, look, that post is from Maria Island, and we'll mark it Maria Island. So what you can do here is on our little tool we've created, and this is a custom build, you can just search for content on Maria Island. You might say, look, I actually would like to look at events content or cycling or just quirky content or railways, restaurants, sunsets, the arts, the Tarkine. Let's have a look at vineyards. So we've actually taken this content and we've made it so it can be organised and it's searchable, which is proving to be a really popular tool with visitors to the site. They're spending a lot of time on this page. We've got big plans to do a lot more with this content, but right now, and I won't let any secrets away, my client will kill me, but right now that's the functionality we have, but we're moving towards much bigger things, which is very exciting. And the tool we're using, sorry, I'll bring us back to the web. The tool we're using is a tool called, Zumpf. And what else would it be called? A good tech company name. So what Zumpf does is you can see here we've got some pending photos that we haven't looked at yet, some posts from this morning. We've got 8,500 posts that we have approved. So on the engine you just had a look at a minute ago, there are 8.1 thousand items of content on there that people can search and plan with. We've rejected 63,000. So you can see the ratio in terms of how many we reject versus how many we go through. So we have actually physically been through 63,000 items of content in the last couple of years. And what we actually do here, so this is all fresh content that's come through. So we just find a piece of content that we like, that we think tells a wonderful story. And what we can do down here is we can say, approve that content. And then we actually tag the content as well. So I won't go through the manual process of that, but just to show you how easy it is. So we say, we like that, it's East Coast Tasmania, it's history, boom. And then that is live up on that bit of software within, I think, 5 minutes of us doing that. There are far simpler tools. There are lots of tools. So these are called social media harvesting tools. If you just type into Google, how do I search, how do I harvest and present hashtag content on my website, there are lots of options. And there are little plugins for WordPress as well. And the plugins for WordPress are free. They just have limited functionality. So I really encourage you to use that content. And you've got a couple of options. So one thing you might like to do is to actually go through other people's content and handpick like we do on that particular business. I have other clients where, for example, they run a tour in the Kimberley and a four-wheel drive tour. And what we actually encourage people on the tour to do, and the staff, is we ask them to hashtag their content to #Kimberley. I can't think exactly what it is, but it's quite a specific hashtag. Something you wouldn't, like Kimberley ABC, something that someone on the street's not going to think to use. So what that's doing is that's actually marking content that we're specifically after from people on tour and our staff. and then the crew actually just do a feed of that on the website because they trust the content's okay. They don't actually go through and approve and reject it. So you can be very specific with hashtags. They also run a promotion with people on tour. So the promotion at the end of the tour, I think there's, whether it's a bottle of wine or it's not something significant, but it engages people to get involved in terms of when they're posting on tour to put in #KimberleyABC, and then we put that content on the Kimberley Tour page. So when you go to the page and you look at Kimberley Tours, and it has the highlights and all the pictures, all our marketing pictures, there's also a content feed that shows people on the tour, like yesterday or this morning, which is really, really very valuable content. Do we have any questions coming through at the moment?
We just have one from Joanne. It's just regarding how to access the previous workshops. So after this one has been completed, we will just send through to all the registrants the 3 links from the previous one so you can access it. I think the archive footage is available for a year, so there's no time limit to when you can access it, really.
Fantastic.
That's about it.
Okay,
Yeah,
perfect, fantastic. Any questions? Please, we certainly welcome them. Now, there's another campaign which showed great creativity, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a piece of video because you don't need to hear it. It's a visual piece, and this is I'll give you the backstory. So there's a photographer and his girlfriend, maybe a couple of years ago. We're travelling, and there was a perspective. She was dragging him off to see something, which he sort of talks about as a pretty regular occurrence. And she was in front like she is there, and actually he took the photo. So he's behind her, she's leading him. So he loved that perspective. So he started taking photos regularly of her leading him, and he hashtagged it "Follow Me Too." Just let's just create a hashtag "Follow Me Too," and people started to hear of it, and people started to share it, and then people started to follow it. So it's become quite a phenomenon, this "Follow Me Too." And if you go and search "Follow Me Too," the hashtag, just onto Google or onto Instagram, just type in #Follow Me Too, you'll see all of their content. It's been so popular that retail clothing brand has picked them up now, a significant retail clothing brand, and they're paying them to travel the world in their clothes to run to extend the Follow Me Too campaign in their gear. So I'll just show you this little piece of video. Apologies that you won't be able to hear it, but you'll get the idea. So the point here is to think creatively when you're looking at it. So if you're engaging your people on tour or people staying with you to hashtag your property name or your tour name or your restaurant name, instead of just relying on them to run happy snaps, maybe there's a theme. Maybe you can show a theme and you can share with them the photos that people have taken along this theme, over the last period of time, and it really sets a challenge, and it gives people guidelines in terms of, what you might hope to get from them. So I don't really have any suggestions in terms of what your theme is. I think that's up to you with your own style and your own product and your own customer. But I thought that was a really clever way, a good example of how creativity can sort of start a movement. And in effect, that's what you're trying to achieve with that sort of content. So get the creative juices flowing, and that might be something that might work well for you. There's another little clip too, as YouTube is also an important tool. And when I was searching for Vietnam, I typed in best tour guide in Vietnam. In fact, I lied, it was Sapa. Sapa's where I wanted. So I put in the best tour guide in Sapa. If you type in the best tour guide in Vietnam, even though this is in Sapa, this will come up as the #1 video. It's had 37,000 views. And I'm going to show you just a clip of it. You won't be able to hear it. It doesn't matter. But I want to show you the authenticity of this. So not everything has to be amazing production quality. So this is something, but it has to be genuine and authentic. So this is a little video that someone had been on tour with with this guide, and they decided, so at the moment she's sharing with us who she is and what she does. She's giggling away, trying to get a phone number out and her email address. Now this is how I found the guide, and I sent an email to her, and she was busy, so we went with her sister, and that's a picture of us sort of back on the screen. So, 37,295 views from a piece of content that is just genuine and it's authentic. And this has only been pushed through YouTube. So I can't find evidence that this has been pumped through any other social channels. But my point was, YouTube is a social channel, so video content is more powerful than ever before. So if you remember the second workshop, Google loves video. So Google have research that shows the importance of video to consumers, and it's particularly important for travel. So if you have video on your website, and the way to do that is host it on YouTube, because they own that as well. So host it on YouTube, and that video on YouTube is also searchable. So if you put tags, when you in the other video we talk about this, the SEO video, if you put tags on that, that becomes searchable content. So I think that demonstrates, I'm sure her and her sister have generated significant business out of that, those 37,000 views. So think broader. YouTube is also an interesting social channel. Pinterest. Pinterest is not a massive tool, but it's perfect for tourism. But it's just not a big social media channel in general as yet. And I don't know how much bigger it will even get. But it's very female dominant. It's used for weddings planning. It's used for interior design and to gather home ideas. But it is also used for holiday planning. So I'm just going to sneak across and have a look at the Tourism Australia Pinterest site. So what Pinterest is a series of, they call them pin boards. So it's just like a big scrapbook. So you can be searching through the internet and you can see a picture on the internet, could be on somebody's website. And you can say, oh, I love that hotel, and then you can pin that to your pin board. So if you have a tour, accommodation, a restaurant, and you'd like to create your own pin board, maybe it's based on your rooms or your food or your things in the area or access options. It could be anything, but it's all about visual. So you can create different boards based on different themes for your business. And people can go into Pinterest, and you can see there's a search field up there. Somebody could type in Cairns holiday. And they can find different pin boards. So someone could come across your company pin board. Some of these are personal pin boards. Some of them will be company pin boards. So that's how they can find you. So again, it's a little bit more work. It's not a primo channel. So it's the sort of channel I recommend that if all of your other social assets are humming and you're looking for more to do, get into Pinterest, because it's the perfect platform for travel. It just doesn't have a massive user base at the moment, but it is steadily growing. So in terms of Pinterest, you can't tag Tourism Australia, as far as I know. I think they will have to be following your pin board, and they'll have people keeping an eye on those sorts of things. So it won't be your biggest channel of reach, and it won't be your biggest channel of search. But once you've got it set up, it doesn't take much extra effort to just to pin content onto that pin board. To have a look at content as well. So we're talking about remarkable content, and there are two new pieces of technology that a year ago not a lot of people would have seen this. Now a lot of you may have seen it, but not a lot of people, apart from the big businesses, are using it. I have a little, there's a business I work for in the northwest of Tassie, and they decided that they'd like to get some of this footage, so they approached a few other operators, non-competitive operators, and they all chipped in and they bought some of this equipment. Now this is called 360 video, and what is now quite a complex device. It has 6 GoPro cameras, you can see, on a mount. So it actually takes full HD video in all of those directions, and then there's a bit of software that GoPros provide, and it stitches it all together. There are other options on the marketplace now. I saw one just yesterday in JB Hi-Fi. I think it was just called 360, and it's just a black ball with little cameras sticking out of it, and that's 4K Full HD. I think it was $900. Again, invest yourself, join up with others, and use it yourself. But it's just an amazing tool for tourism. So I'll sneak back to the internet and we'll just have a bit of a look. So this is actually showing it on a desktop version. This is much cooler when you look at it through your mobile phone. When you look at it through the mobile phone, instead of a manual panning process, which is what I'm about to do here, so what I can do is I can click on here. Ooh, sorry. My apologies. For some reason, it's not. Okay. Failure. Let me try, do another search. Let's try this one. Okay, I apologise. Working this morning, not supported on this browser. Okay, please be patient with me. We have got some time, so I'm going to move across to Chrome. Move across to Chrome, we'll have a look. So if you imagine with your telephone, what it's actually doing with your phone is, I've got my phone with me, but you hold your phone up and you can see the surfing video through the phone. But because it's 360, if I look up and look down, or if I turn the phone around, I am looking full 360 into the environment. So even if it's a room type, or whether it's particularly on a tour, and maybe you take people to a waterfall or a picnic spot or just somewhere special and you'd like to really immerse them in the experience, they hold up their phone, or you'll be able to see another example of it in a minute, you can actually see full 360 into the environment. So it really is remarkable technology. And the problem's going to be is, I don't know whether it's a year away or 2 years away, it will become common practice, it will become expected, and it won't be so remarkable. So everybody has an opportunity, whether you're a group of operators or you're a destination or you're an individual, everyone has an opportunity. I'll just flick back to that video now. Everybody has an opportunity. Okay, my little hands there now. So everyone's got an opportunity to take advantage of this technology while it's quite new. So as you can see, I'm looking around full 360. So this is good on the desktop, but believe me, when it's on the phone, it is just even better. And I'd say, here we go, we'll go surfing in a minute. That's right, I think you understand the idea. So a really impressive way of showing people more about your tourism experience. Okay, we'll pause that. Another form is drone footage. So there are licensing issues with drones. So you need to make sure that you can use a drone. The different size drones. Again, if you do a Google search saying, using a drone for tourism, there's plenty of advice on it. But it's creating remarkable content. Generally, if you don't have privacy concerns, you're not looking too bad. And this is a client I have in the middle of Australia. They asked permission for this family. They gave this family the content, and of course they on-shared it. But you can see it's just a few seconds, but it just truly is remarkable content that can get really good shareability. It would have taken them just minutes to take. There's obviously no privacy issues out there, so you need to be careful how you use drone technology. But I'm seeing some wonderful examples of businesses that are using it, getting really good traction. it won't be long before they're a bit, yesterday's news, and you won't get that sort of early mover advantage. So if you have the opportunity to adopt the drone footage or to get into some of the 360 footage, I think you'll have really good results from that.
We just had a question from Rachel. She was just wondering, can you get drones with 360 footage, especially for places that would kind of benefit from having an aerial view of the landscapes?
Sure. All you'll have to do is you just need a drone that can sustain the 360 camera, and which the little ones now that I saw just the other day was just no bigger than a tennis ball. So you can attach that to the bottom of the drone, just press play on it, and you'll have full 360 from the drone. So that's a great idea, bring the two technologies together. And how great's that going to look? So there is an early mover advantage. Tourism destinations are getting into this. I really haven't seen many operators. So I think it's a winner if you can get onto it. I'd just like to have a look now. We'll flip across to the web again. I'm really putting the tech guys to test today. So in terms of distributing content, it's the whole idea of going to Facebook and putting some content up and then going to Instagram and then going to here and there and the others, is quite time consuming. With this tool here, you can't connect Instagram, which isn't an issue for me, but the other example, Hootsuite, which I don't use, so I won't use as an example today, but have a look at it, watch a training video. It won't be difficult. But for me, my channels are LinkedIn, Twitter and Facebook. And I also have a Google Plus account. I recommend you have a Google Plus account. Now, no one's going to look at it, but it's just great for search. So once you set up your Google Plus account and you link it through Buffer or Hootsuite, it doesn't take you any more time to post content on Google Plus than it does to post content on your Twitter or your Facebook feed. Instagram, I do not believe. No, so this one here won't let me connect. It'll let me connect my Pinterest. There you go. So that's only quite new. So you can connect your Pinterest to this as well. So it will take you no more time to build up your pin boards. The only difference is when this post goes to Pinterest, you'll have to go into Pinterest and probably organise it if you want to mix them up in different boards. So if you're running your Facebook and your Google Plus through this, if it also suits to use those other channels, you can use it as well. But the reason I like this is because it allows me to upload a photo or a piece of video, type in whatever I want, and I can do two things. One, I can put it in a queue. I won't actually do it today. So I can say add to the schedule, or I can say share it now or share it next. And in my schedule here, so what it means is you can put 7 or 8 pieces of content in, if that's the way you would like to operate. You can put them in and you can schedule them out. So you can say different days of the week, at a posting time, different days, and that you can have a different schedule for your different channels. So I like to mix mine up, so it doesn't look like I'm posting the same thing in every channel all the time. So, and there's also an analytics tab as well. So it actually shows you, this only just went out, but it shows you if you've got comments, likes, clicks, how many people have reached. I only have a very small following. I don't really drive my social following for my business, but it gives you the statistics, whether it went to Twitter, whether it went to channel A, B, and C. So this is one of the tools that you can actually have a look at. The different reach, and you can see here. This one here, I'd probably put $10 behind it maybe to push the reach out. Clicks, likes, shares. Anyway, so it's just a nice way of having a look at the reach and performance of your content. That was for Facebook. Then you can have a look for Twitter. You can have a look at the reach there for LinkedIn, for Google Plus, for example. So Buffer is a really strong tool in terms of pushing out content from your desktop. The other thing you can do is you can load Buffer onto your phone. So when you if you're on tour or you take a picture of something, instead of saying post it to Facebook, you can say add to Buffer. So it will just simply add it to your schedule. So if you've got 7 things in the schedule, it'll add it to the bottom. So it will just in sequence, it will just roll out whatever's in the schedule. If you've got something that's time specific though, you just want to say share now. If it's something that you want out there right now, you push it in front of the queue. So have a look at Hootsuite, have a look at Buffer, and hopefully those tools will be good for you in terms of streamlining your posting and also understanding the traction as opposed to going into Instagram, into Facebook, etc., etc.
I've just got two questions before
Please.
you move on. So we've just got one from Fiona. She was just wondering, in regards to a Google Plus account, is it best to run it from a personal account or from a separate business account?
Run your business account. So what you should have on Google your Google business listing, and that's on the right-hand side. It pops up with maybe your picture of where your office is. You can have your star ratings, your Google reviews, and your details. You can add a Google Plus page to that, and you can just deem it as a business page is what you need to do there.
And just our second question, they were just wondering, in terms of the analytics, is there a way to check which social media platforms are having the most success for your business? So if you do run a competition, which platform to run it out of to get the most kind of traction?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. Absolutely. It might depend on a couple of things. So if you're looking to run a social promotion and you want a hashtag feature, all you're really asking people to do is hashtag their content on any. So whether they're Twittering it, whether they're posting it through their Instagram or their Facebook, as long as you're asking them to, if you're talking with somebody direct, all they have to do is go hash whatever the hashtag you want. But if you'd like to put it on a platform and say enter this competition, Facebook is by far the best. And it's by best for a couple of reasons. One is you can say, we're looking to do, enter by commenting. So people can literally just, you might have a criteria where you say, tell us the best thing about this, or tell us an idea for that, or share your favourite surfing story, or whatever it is. But by putting it in the comments, you've got your entry list, and then you can pick there are bits of free software out there, you can pick a random winner, which is the easiest way to run a competition. Good thing about Facebook too is you can also push advertising, and we'll run through that fairly soon. So you might launch a promotion, put it onto your Facebook page, and yes, people who are following you might see it, but what you can do is you can pay money to push that promotion to other people who aren't following you. Or maybe people who are following you but you've slipped down their feed, you can get up the top. So you can really drive traffic through Facebook advertising to run a Facebook promotion. So in terms of social media advertising, so Instagram, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, because they've been bought by Facebook, you can advertise on Instagram now. As an Instagram user, I hate it. But, and I really don't have a feel in terms of how successful Instagram ads are, but it doesn't take you any more time to say yes to Instagram as well as Facebook. In terms of Facebook advertising, I've had great success with clients with Facebook advertising, but it's got to have a very specific purpose. So what I wouldn't recommend Facebook or Instagram advertising for is brand awareness type stuff. Just look at me. If you have a remarkable piece of content, an amazing piece of video or some 360 video, maybe you could put some dollars behind it just to push it out there a little further, hoping it might get more traction and more shares. Makes sense. But most of the traction I've had is when you're looking to fill like quite an immediate call to action. I have a fishing charter client who's always dead through December and January. We decided to, we wanted to generate cash flow, so we said, look, let's run a promotion for anybody within like a 300k radius of the port, saying if you buy a fishing trip, over the next 2 months, you'll get 20% off, sort of fill your freezer for 20% less. They could travel any time during the year though, so we got cash flow we needed. We just put that onto Facebook and said pump it out to males aged, I think it was 30 to 65 or 30 to 70 within a 300k radius of the port, and had a phenomenal response because it was something that was, it was tactical, it had a defined time limit on it, it was good value, and we had quite a defined audience. We could have also said just people interested in fishing, but we decided, look, let's just pump it out to any males, and we also put less money out to females as well. but it was a different message. It was, buy hubby a fishing Christmas gift. And we had a good response from that as well. So we can pick our audiences. During the year, we're planning also on, pumping a different message out as well to a younger crowd. Maybe it's around Bucks nights or those sorts of things. So we'll be very specific around the audience and the message with our Facebook advertising. And you can click how many people saw it, how many people clicked on it, how many went to your website. So it's highly measurable. The other thing with Facebook advertising, which I don't see used a lot in tourism, certainly with all my clients it is, but I rarely go to a client who practices this, is with a Facebook ad, you can pay to have your content pushed onto somebody's Facebook feed who is visiting. So their home address is somewhere else. So we can actually target people visiting our region, which of course is highly relevant to us, with Facebook content. And I'm going to go through and actually show you now how to actually load an ad for both of those purposes. Okay. Oops, sorry. Too many tabs. Okay. Okay, so this is my business page. So a couple of things we can do. In my last session, the session we ran earlier on this week, what I did is I loaded a blog to my website and I copied the blog page and I used Buffer to post it onto my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter feed. And this is what it looks like. So you can see this has been, it's been popped on. I only have 211 followers, but it reached 69 of them. So it just talks about that ratio in terms of the reaching versus the posting. Here, what I can do is I might say, look, I'd actually like to push this to advertise this post, and you just click on Boost. And I might like to push this out to people who like my page. So if I had 5,000 followers and I only reached 69 of them, that means that I'm not getting on their scroll. I'm pushed down the bottom because they're not interacting with me. And what I could do is say, look, I want to get back on their radar. I'm going to push it just to the top of their page. And if they like it and comment on it, it'll stay at the top of their page. Maybe there's relevance where I can say people who like your page and their friends. Maybe I want to put a special out to my fans, my page followers and their friends. Or maybe it's just to my page followers. I want to reward them with an incentive. So I do the top one. Or the most common one perhaps is choose people through targeting. So what we can do here is we can actually create an audience. So we'll give it a title. And then what we do here, this has come in from some of my other work, and I'll leave it, but what we can do here is we can pick locations by countries, states or cities. So I've picked them by cities, and I've said within 25 miles, let's make it 50 plus miles. So that gives a bit of a radius in terms of the places that I'm targeting this. So this post will be literally pushed out. I will pay for it to go to, let's just say, all women aged 30 to 60. You can just adjust that to whatever let's just within 50 miles of all of these locations. And what I could also do is I could add an interest. I could say, if I type in tourism, it gives me some of the interest points that I might decide. Ecotourism, if that's relevant to me. Maybe I want to put it out. Obviously, it wouldn't be relevant to me, but for you, I might type in adventure. But this is obviously adventure travel. Zipline, ecotourism. So it's sort of telling me, so for the fishing one, I could have just typed in fishing. What type of fishing? So we can pick interests. And the way these interests work is Facebook looks at what you interact with. So if there was some fishing content, say a fishing magazine pushed some content to my page and I made a comment on it, Facebook will then determine that I like fishing. So with these interests, what it's doing, it's becoming more targeted in terms of who this content is going to. So you can choose to have nothing in terms of interest, or you can choose to have something. If I type in business, distribution, so if I type in small business, so I'm just going to leave that. I'll go save. So I've got a new audience that I've created now. Now this will not, doing it this way, by pressing boost on a post, it will not give you the option to target people visiting the region, okay? So this will only be based on the home address, if you like, wherever the address is that's registered in their Facebook profile. So this is only targeting where people are residing, not where they're travelling. It tells me that for $10, I might reach between 280 and 750 people. What if it's $27? Between 520 and 1400. Pretty broad type of range, but that's what it gives you. I can run that over a 7-day period. If it's if I'm advertising something that's really time sensitive, maybe it's a 1-day thing. Maybe it's saying tonight we've got an early bird special at the restaurant. So if you get in before 7 o'clock, you get this 3-course menu. So you only want to run that for 1 day, or maybe it's every night. So you want to run it for the whole week. You're promoting an event which is time specific. So you can put in a time specific. You just have to put your PayPal or your credit card details on there, and we'll just go boost. So it's as simple as that. So now we're in review. Facebook has rules about what it will boost out there as well. You can also promote your business, you can promote your website or your page. I've found far more success actually putting on some content that is targeted to a particular customer with a particular message, and then boosting or putting money behind that piece of content. I'll just show you now where to use the tourism specific. So we need to go to promote, and we need to roll down here to go to Ads Manager. At the top right, we will go Create Ad. And again, lots of videos online for all of this, if you go back to it later on and you feel a bit lost. So what we'd like to do, we can say reach people near our business. Maybe we want to reach people that are within a proximity of our business, because it's quite a time-sensitive offer. Promoting the page, that's a bit of a, hey, look at me. I find that less effective. But we might have put a post up to do with our fishing trip deal, or maybe it's to do with some seats on the boat tomorrow, that we've got some seats on a boat or a tour that we're happy to discount to get rid of. Or maybe it's just don't miss out. Seats are selling fast. We've got 6 left. So you can be very specific. So what we'll do here, we can give it a name. I'll just leave it as post engagement, but we can give our campaign a name, and then we come into this dashboard here. So what we can do, everyone in this location, people travelling in this location. Super powerful tool for tourism. Very, very powerful. The location, let's make it Darwin. Within miles, of course, within 50 miles. You can also drag this around, I think. Nope. And you can put different locations, but I've just chosen one. Of course, they have to be on Facebook, but we know how prevalent Facebook is. Say we're targeting some youth. So it's female we're targeting. We can even enter a language. I haven't used the language feature, but I can. So I must admit, I'm not sure whether it translates for you, but we can say enter a language. I think what it might do is it might actually pick up Facebook users from Germany, but I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for you on that. I've never used it before. Let's just say we want to go with English. Then we can put our interests if we would like, or we can just leave it broad. So this is where we can put fishing or the whatever the interest we think it might be. We can save the audience for later. Don't worry about that. We can save the audience for later if we'd like. So we can use it again. And then we get to choose here. Do we want it to go on the mobile phone, Instagram, desktop or newsfeed, the right-hand column on the desktop. So this on your Facebook page, you can see content down the side, or it can come up in your main scroll. So we might say, look, let's just, we can choose any of those really. And what it will do is it will adjust your reach based on what you tick. The Instagram content, it's quite specific about what it will, so it won't allow everything on Instagram. So for example, the blog that I'm talking about, it will not allow on Instagram because Instagram is all about photography. So if you just want to share, if you just post an amazing picture or a piece of video and you write a little story by it, you can use Instagram. I won't tick it for this exercise because it's going to tell me that my blog post, it doesn't like it. I'm not quite, I think it's because it's not photography. It's content that doesn't suit the Instagram platform. Here we can say all devices, or ISO or Android. Generally we'll go all the mobile devices. If we only want it displayed when they're connected to a Wi-Fi, we can do that. And then we just put in our budget once again. So put in our budget, whether we want to run it continuously, whether we want to put a start date, start, end, time, very specific. And we just go continue. And what it will do then is it will ask me to pick a page. So I'll pick my own. Let's have a look at Innkeeper's page. And then it will say, here's all the content on your timeline. So you just pick the piece of content. The wonderful Winter Festival's on down in Hobart at the moment, one of my favourite events. Yeah, so that's what it's going to promote. Then we just simply place order. It's telling me here there's too much text. What about this one here? Sometimes it'll give you warnings too. I suggest you just place your order because half the time the warnings, for some reason, don't seem to be true. But you place the order and then that piece of content will go out to your specific audience of people specifically travelling into the region. So a great tool. I might just quickly show you Facebook Insights actually before we disappear.
Just before we move on, I've just got two questions about those. The first one is, do you know approximately how long the review process is, especially if it's time sensitive? Yeah,
it should only be maybe 15, 20 minutes. Maybe it's...
Yep.
Yeah, it's not long. Okay. I haven't timed it, but it happens fairly quickly. I would say maybe half an hour would be my sort of guess on that.
And similar to the other posting apps you've used, is there a way to delay the post? So if you wanted to kind of boost it right before a promotion, but you don't have the time on the day, is there a way to do that?
Perfect. Yeah, you can schedule. So when we were in there a minute ago, I had a start and a start and a stop. So that will actually schedule it to start running in 3 days' time and stop in 2 days after it, starting at 7 o'clock and finishing at 7 p.m. So you can say every day I only run it between these times, or you can say start it between 3 days' time and later. There is also a scheduling feature for posts on Facebook, but I think the only way to do the advertising to schedule that is actually to do what I just showed you there with the start date and the finish date in terms of that.
Brilliant.
Okay, excellent. These are wonderful webinars because nobody can challenge me in terms of whether I'm wrong, so please ask any questions. So in terms here, let's have a look. See up the top here, we've got Insights. So this will only show you the Facebook platform. This shows us here that page views, page likes. If I was posting videos, it shows me what my reach is. So that's a bit of a summary over a period of time, the last 7 days. You can just adjust that to however long you'd like. And then it also shows the different content. So it shows me that I've boosted this one here. Looks like it's still in review. Can't see whether it's told me it's approved or not. And then it just shows, some I have boosted, some I haven't. So you can go into the individual post, and then there's just more summary content down here for other pages that I run. But it's really more about going into the post and you're having a look at the stats. But as you can see, the same stats here are the stats that we saw when we had a look at the buffer or Hootsuite. So it's really probably just as effective to load all of your assets into one of those management tools, and then you can have a look at your performance through those tools instead of having to go into one asset versus the next. So remember at the beginning we talked about our objectives. I'm just going to share with you a strategy from a client. I won't say who it is, but this is their social media strategy. And before this, we talk about which channels and bits and pieces, but their strategy is to drive increased website traffic by linking blogs located on my website. So what they're looking to do is load the blog into their website and then share that blog. And what they're looking to do is to get traffic. They want to convert to bookings or sign up to their newsletter. Obviously bookings is what they want, but if they're not going to book, we try and get them on a newsletter. So we pop, and I had that in the first session. There are auto pop-up things to get people onto your newsletter. They want to strengthen their brand credibility by stimulating reviews and TripAdvisor, OTAs, Google and Facebook. So they're being very proactive in terms of we'd love for you to put a review on for us, please. They send them an email post-travel. Thanks so much. If you'd love to share a photo with us from your holiday, hashtag us. If you'd love to write a review, we don't care where you write it. It'd just be fabulous. So, and it's hardly a 100% strike rate, but they're slowly building those reviews because they're being proactive about that. They're asking people on tour, post-tour. They'd like to grow their shoulder bookings by engaging residents within a 200k radius with tactical offers through Facebook. Just what we said. And they'd also like to target people for last-minute seats by engaging people travelling within the region. So they're really seeing great benefits with their yield management. People these days get it when you fly on a plane, when you rent a car, when you're in a hotel room, we're not all paying the same price. So I say don't be afraid to yield manage. You're not discounting, you're yield managing your seats or your product by targeting people in region. I'm really talking about tours, rent-a-cars, clubs, bars, restaurants, where you can hit them with offers and really easily measure the response to those. So I hope you try some of those. I've had some great success. They'd like to increase the quality of content on their social pages by encouraging people to hashtag. They want to increase the content on their social pages by incentivising staff to do the same thing. They'd like to improve their website content by curating and presenting Instagram content specifically onto their website. So they're going to follow other people's instead of sending a photographer out there. And they're going to increase their content reach by posting or tagging their content. Actually posting to the Tourism Australia, TEQ, TTNQ Facebook pages. They're going to tag their Instagram content to See Australia and Restaurant Australia, and they'll tweet to the @Australia. I'd suggest they'll probably do that to the Tourism Queensland and TTNQ assets as well. But it's just a bit of a summary to sort of say, well, let's just get some clarity in terms of, why we're doing it and what we're going to do. And then you can sort of build a program of action and investment that sort of sits below that. They also have a content plan, and this is actually another client. So this is my fishing client. And this just says when you're engaging your staff in terms of social media content, you're saying, we'd love you to get content that we can share through our channels. We want remarkable content, but don't get, do get this, don't get that. So we actually have some themes I don't have up here. The themes are camaraderie, challenge. I think they're the main camaraderie, challenge, and adventure are sort of the three themes we want to catch on this big fishing tour. This is a big 7-day boys type fishing trip. The content that we'd like the skippers to get is individual or groups of people fighting the catch, the first peak or the first rise out of the water, the brag shot, comments from the actual person who caught it, good times together, groups bonding. So go for that. What we don't want to get is small catch, alcohol, swearing, drunk, sexist, or really bad weather. Stay away from that. So we've probably got about a 10-minute window every day to capture fishing content in the mornings, but the skippers are geared up with the content. So what they do is they're actually after video content. We're just about to get some glasses for them with the video in the glasses. So they'll be able to go out there, turn the video on, help somebody bring in a fish, get amazing content. That night, they will sit on their laptop. We've created a top and tail, so a bit of an introduction and a bit of a logo sign-off, and they just simply edit, 10 seconds of that clip, just cut and paste it into the 15-second clip. They'll upload it to YouTube, drop it on our social channels, and we'll have regular content going out. So we're just about to action that. But we've had to train the skips, we've had to write a content plan for them, we've had to give them the tools to make it easy enough, because they said we just can't use a GoPro. So you can't hold cameras around while you're working, fine. We've found some glasses. So make sure you've got that content plan, you've got the themes, people are clear in terms of what content you want to get, but just as importantly, what content you may not want to get. I might just see if there's any other questions while we've got 10 minutes left that are lined up.
Oh, we're all good at the moment.
We're all good?
Yep.
We might just wait just a minute. So if you do have a question, any other questions, now's the time to flick them through. I think most of you are aware, I've mentioned it a few times, there were 2 other sessions, and we'll send you through those links so you can go back and watch the session on high performance tourism websites. You can go back and watch the session from earlier this week on search engine optimization, and if you're really keen, you can watch this one again to refresh yourself on social media. Obviously really impossible to cover absolutely everything in all of these sessions, but when I put them together, my focus was what are the absolute fundamentals that tourism businesses need to be looking at and need to be aware of to really maximise their performance with their website, driving traffic and sort of humming with social. Are there any other questions that have come through?
I was just wondering, just a question come through now. In terms of training your staff, what do you think is kind of the best method to go about that? Is it kind of just guiding them while they're on the tours or whatever, or is it more formalised training that you'd advise?
I think you need to start with formal training, and it's the first thing is why. Why are we doing it? So it's probably a session similar to what we've just run through would be the place I would start. So, what is social media? Why is it important? What's the impact it can have? Get them excited about the fact that Tourism Australia might pick their content up and run with it. Explain to them the different channels. I mean, watch this video with them perhaps. Explain the different channels, because if people don't understand why they're doing something, that you won't get off the starting line. So once they understand there's a really good reason for investing their time and energy in assisting you with this, you'll have the first starting point. And then there's some technical bits and pieces, or there's a strategy before that. So involve them in writing your content plan. Okay, guys, what are our themes? Is it wildlife? Is it romance? Is it indulgence? Is it adventure? What are our themes that we want to, and let's have a look at what Tourism Australia's themes are to start our thought process. And then what's that list of content we do want to chase, and what's the stuff we really want to keep away from? So then any new staff member can go through a little induction process of why we do it. Here's our content plan. The team pulled it together. And then you need a little bit of training in terms of how to actually, how to take it and how to post it, and share the insights with them. It's important they see the results. I have another client that actually runs competitions with the staff. So they have a look at the end of every month, and they have a look at the staff content, and they all know what content they took, and the post with the most engagement gets a, I'm not sure what they give them. But and then I think it's being very patient with them and allowing them to make mistakes. You can delete content, and if it's not being boosted, if you remember you've got 5,000 fans, you're probably not going to hit 5,000 people. So if you set the plan in place, work with them, talk about the content they're posting, give them a heap of praise for the good stuff. If you need to delete something, delete it and explain why. So it's very much on the job in terms of refining the quality of your content. But I think there's formal training in terms of getting it started.
And are there any kind of special, legal considerations when you are filming people along on your tour and stuff like that? Should you kind of inform them from the beginning, we may be using these images for our promotion, just so I guess they also know what behaviour is acceptable? And
absolutely. Yeah. There's a couple of things that I suggest you do there. One is just get it in your terms and conditions of when people click book. So that will cover you, if they're signing something or when they're booking, or, I'm sure you've got OH&S and all sorts of liability and things like that people are signing off on. So the common thing is to say that, we may take images of you, we may use them for social media promotional purposes. So that covers that off. But I would also absolutely, particularly if you're talking about a tour, just say to people, do you mind? Just a common courtesy. Even though legally you might be covered, The other way, of course, if you're encouraging people to hashtag their own photos, as long as their privacy settings are turned to open, which just about everybody is, you can harvest that content, because when you take their Instagram picture and put it on your website, for example, it actually has their face and their name, so it's all credited to them. All you're doing is sharing content that they have made public, so there's zero risk in that at all. What I generally try not to do is, when I've got businesses taking our own content, I generally won't take pictures of people's faces and things, just to stay away from it. So I'll take more distant pictures or amazing pictures of wildlife or occurrences, and then I will harvest other people's content, because it just takes that risk away, because there's a mountain of content out there. So I don't think you're going to get in any trouble, but that's how I sort of approach it, to minimise any hassles you might have.
Yeah, and we've just got a few questions coming in about the previous webinar, so we'll just send out the links to everyone so you can all access it.
Excellent.
And that's all we've got so far.
And that's it, 4 minutes early. So that's the series complete. It's my first introduction to webinars, so I've enjoyed it. There's been a fantastic rate of people joining and not leaving, so I greatly appreciate that, and I'm sure Oz Industry is greatly appreciating that as well. I've worked in and for tourism businesses. I get how busy you are. I get you should probably be out there at the moment, changing beds or serving people or washing cars. So I understand your time is tight, and the fact you've taken the time to join myself and Rebecca on this series has been just fabulous.
So we've just got one last minute question from Lisa.
Okay.
Yeah, she was just wondering, she's experienced businesses in the past that have kind of been pests on Facebook with, over posting.
Yeah.
She was just wondering what's kind of a reasonable level for you to post.
Yeah, I mean, you hear a lot of different advice on this, and the time of day is another thing as well. So I think the easier answer is time of day. People during their morning tea breaks and their lunch breaks and sort of lying on the couch after dinner are peak times for people reading content. So that's your best shot in terms of timing. For me, it's more about the quality of your content. If you're posting remarkable content, I don't know, twice a week, for me, that's enough. Maybe 3 times if your content is truly mind-blowing, but people will tire of it. So even if you are posting, I've got some clients that post twice a month, and they do great. It's just amazing content, maybe little videos they pull together, or the 360, or it's just amazing, little collages, and they get great traction because people look forward to their content. So great point, don't spam people, don't post for the sake of posting it. If you're feeling you're a bit addicted to it, maybe back off. Just think about, it's all about quality, and look at those insights. If you're posting something you think's really cool and it's not getting traction, it might be because you're down the bottom of the feed. So you might need to spend a few dollars on Facebook ads to say, boost this content to people who like me, just, your own following. That'll get your content back up the top. Then you'll get an indication of who likes it, because you'll get the engagement rate. If it's good content, keep it rolling. If you don't get the engagement, rethink your content strategy.
Yeah.
Okay, is that all the questions?
Oh, good, yeah.
Okay, well, thank you very much. 129 signing off, and I hope to meet you all in person sometime or see you on another webinar series. Thanks very much. Thank you too.
Thanks.